The rings Priest Ike gave us were of no charge. At least that was a breath of relief. But I just couldn't bear the thought of all the while sitting behind the desk of my own office while sipping coffee with my fox of a friend. Then the phone rang. As Fox grabbed it and answered it, I gazed out the window behind me as another sip from the morning drink pressed against my lips. I was filled with guilt about what had taken place. I still couldn't believe that Fox and I were hitched to some dame. She may have good looks and a mysterious personality, but I just couldn't help but wonder if this was part of something that was to shake in my life. I smell foreshadowing. Then my associate hung up the phone and looked at me, knowing that he had urgent news to tell. "Looks like we got a case on our hands," he said. I responded with tired eyes, with a feeling of knowing what I was going to get into. "Peachy, what is it this time?" "Last night someone snuffed out the owner of the Dream Pipe. Cops found him with a wrench driven into his head. It was a very brutal killing. Well, I guess they didn't like how he did his plumbing." I slowly got up, wondering how crap like this will never seem to stop coming at us, and said, "Well, let's get down to business." Another line. I'm going to assume that this was supposed to be in chapters, but he just put it down as, one huge thing of words. Oh well. Let's continue. I sat at the bench with a bottle of whiskey in my hand, thinking about the examination me and Fox did at the morgue. The carcass was badly beaten to a pulp. Even the mortician didn't have the guts to remove the wrench that was embedded in his brain. Mario was his name, but he never made his last name public. Oh, it was made public in the Super Mario Brothers movie. His last name is Mario, apparently. For those who haven't seen that movie, do not watch it, because it's shit! Shit, shit, shit. Okay, let's continue to read. One mystery I could never and will ever solve. Be glad you don't. Fox took a taxi back to the office. He said he needed to file a report on the body and its findings. Also, something about seeing a dead body that badly bashed made him feel sick. So he went to the Dream Pipe, alone. I was looking for more than a drink. There was some interesting suspects there that had answers to my questions. One was Luigi, the owner's brother. The bartender told me that when his bro died, he would probably get full ruling of his siblings' business. But since a scandal that involved mushrooms and the tabloids giving the high and mighty Italians a bad name, he thought his brother went through rehab. Mario never forgave him. Yeah, that'd be interesting seeing Luigi high. We already have seen Mario high if you've seen Robot Chicken. Very funny. Next was Peach, Mario's ex-wife and once famed singer of the Dream Pipe. Peach, a singer? I wonder what her main song is. Help! Help! I'm in danger! Help! Help! I am in danger! Help! 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 Well, that's all she says. This is what she does in every game. Help! Help! She doesn't speak. She just grunts and goes, help! Okay, sorry for that. Let's continue. He was caught cheating with the bartender's ex-girlfriend. Wow, Mario cheating on Peach? When the fruity dame found out, she just walked up to him and said it was over. Well, she took it well. She spent the last 5 years of her life living with her father, a rich business tycoon that owned 8 oil rigs that kept their wealth alive. Some princess she was. You forgot the S at the end of princess. There's supposed to be 2 S's and they only have 1. I've said this once. I've said this twice. I've said this 50 billion times. People, before you post your story on fanfiction.net, check your frickin' grammar. It's not that hard to do. Then came the bartender. He never revealed his full name, but only went by his nickname, Link. He was quite upset to find his ex-wife with another man, only shorter than him. Apparently, when he told her that he began to feel a part of his sexuality was leaning towards other men... What?! He may have been gay?! Okay, I could see Zelda being maybe gay or lesbian because she occasionally turns into a boy every now and then, but Link? 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 Oh my god! Ugh. I've read worse, though. I've read a lot worse. So let's continue. Her last words to him before she went out the door were, "Well, excuse me, you queer bastard." Clever. Very clever. For those who do not know, The Legend of Zelda had a cartoon show. A really bad cartoon show, and Link was wicked annoying. Whenever he would talk to Zelda and she would piss him off, he would say this to her, "Well, excuse me, princess." So I guess this little quote right here is definitely a nod to that show. Although the show sucked. Good, clever, clever. But there is one person I had a knack to talk to at that place. She was Mario's second wife and now singer of the popular place, Zelda. Her voice was operatic, but not enough to be on stage. She was a beauty, but not of my interest. Once she was done performing, I had to question about her link to her deceased spouse. Get it, Link. I paid for my liquor and moved to the dressing rooms. I walked up to the door and knocked on it. She told me to come in. Her room was very plain and simple, aside from the large sofa and huge mirror that had pictures of her and the short plumber. Yeah, Mario and Zelda. They must be fun in bed, seeing he's probably like, teeny tiny, a tiny teeny. In many ways, you know. Sam Cubed, private eye. I have a couple of questions to ask you. What's the occasion? She asked while removing her earrings. It's on the death of your husband. At that immediate moment, she burst into tears. It was like a water fountain that would never stop. As I handed the tissue, she sobbed, "I loved him dearly. I would never do anything to hurt him. Besides, last night the only thing I remember he last did before his retching death was that he had a meeting with Big W, which I'm assuming is Wario. Big W. Now that was a character that I had a bone to pick with. Mario's evil cousin and a crime boss of sorts. Since kindergarten, this guy has been nothing but trouble. He was about the same height as his goody two-shoes sibling. Wait a minute. I thought he's cousins with. Forget it. But wore a yellow suit that was quite tacky, even for a villain. But what really drew my attention to him, whenever I saw him or a photo of his looks, was the mustache he bore. It was long, bushy, and desperately needed a trim. Guess he never heard of a razor before, the chump. Well, maybe he watched the movie Sweeney Todd and didn't want to go near one since. Thanks for your help, and don't worry, I will find the son of a bitch who killed your love. She smiled a bit as I walked out the door, knowing who to tackle next. As I left her room, my memory kicked on the whereabouts of that moron. Last I saw him, he was sitting in the center, sipping his favorite beverage, the slippery elm tree. It was an array and assortment of liquor into one drink. One sip and you feel like everything is turning surreal. I know the feeling. I used to have a few till I stopped when bartender Link told me of its secret ingredient. It was then I decided Deicid. Okay, they spelled decided wrong. They forgot a few letters. Yeah, like I said before, check your grammar before you post things. Or plop it into Word, because Word doesn't automatic, if something spells it wrong, it's a little zigzag underline. Let's continue. Decided never to drink an alcoholic beverage that contained children's cough syrup in it. Blech. I was just about to head back to the bar and talk to him when two Koopa Troopas stood in my way of returning to my further investigation. Big beefy torso, black suits, and had tiny but muscular heads that could crack a walnut in half in a second. Heads that can crack walnuts? Well, how would you crack a walnut? As far as I am concerned, your head does not have hands unless you're doing this. BAM! Look at all the pretty stars. I think he meant to say, like, hands. Where am I? Those were Troopas, all right. but the only flaw was the tiny turtle heads that were perched on top of their huge bodies. Threatening as they were, their minds were as big as a pea.